So welcome back everybody to another edition of Hayes Crude Outside. I'm Hayes Crude. Today we're back out at West Neck Creek in Virginia Beach. We're going to find out what is the best bait for catfish. Last week we pitted brim versus ivory soap on jugs. Brim won 8 fish to 0, 7 catfish, 1 bowfin to 0 fish for ivory soap. I'm not even sure we got a bite. This week, I was going to go brim versus chicken livers, but the grocery stores didn't have chicken livers. I guess that's another thing in the shortage. So we're going to go Catfish Pro. This is a bloody skipjack versus, I guess this is the nation's leader in catfish artificial bait, Magic Bait. Basically, this is a liver and cheese. So liver and cheese versus skipjack, bloody skipjack. I've got 6 jugs. Basically, the orange is going to have 1 bait on them, and the red jugs are going to have another. We're going to put them here in the creek, and we're going to find out what is the best bait of the 2. And it's going to be a series of episodes where we're putting different baits against each other. So again, next week, as soon as I get chicken livers, we're going to go chicken livers versus cut brim. The winner of the Magic Bait Catfish Pro will go against another bait that I've already ordered. And we're going to go until we find out what is really the best bait for catfish. And of course, you know, I'll take anything else that bites. Bowfin are pretty cool too. But please like and subscribe. There's going to be a pretty interesting series. We're going to find out again what the best catfish bait is out there, at least on the West Neck Creek here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Really appreciate you guys watching. Let's get on it. Hayes Crude Outside. So already, the nice thing about the Catfish Pro bait is, one, it doesn't stink that bad like it says on the package, and it has a resealable bag. So once you open it, you can actually reseal it. Versus Magic Bait, you can't reseal it, and it does stink. This is by far the stinkiest bait of the bunch. We'll see if that makes a difference. But I do like the ability to reseal the bag. And it is, last week it was low tide. This week it is high tide, which is exciting because I did bring some topwater baits for some bass fishing. Caught some bass last week at low tide. And high tide, it'll push some bass back up in here in some of these shallows where the topwater bait is fantastic. I mean, it's probably 2 feet max, but with all this structure, there's going to be some action in here. So while we put the jugs out, we're going to do some bass fishing. Basically, West Neck Creek in Virginia Beach is around the Pungo area, and it's tidal, so you get, you know, a lot of water coming in from the oceans. It's kind of marshy, similar to the Great Dismal Swamp, which I spend a lot of time in. Every type of wildlife you can imagine: ospreys, eagles, bear, deer, turtles, snakes, a little bit of everything. And these smaller creeks lead up into these kind of marshy areas where there's a combination of everything. The tree roots coming up out of the water. I mean, just look at all the structure in here. Perfect bass hangout. Plenty of places to put your kayak or canoe up and down. Virginia Beach has done a good job managing their parks, and they have access points all over the place for tourists and locals alike. So just pick a spot and go. Look at this. Woo. I do have another video in my playlist on how to make these pool noodles or jugs. They are fantastic, especially if you have a kayak. Easy to carry. As you can see, you can carry a bunch of them in a kayak. And super fun if you just want to catch fish. Obviously, it increases your chances quite a bit. right, so we're gonna go red for magic bait. Let's see how it stays on the hook. Squeeze that in a little bit. All right, and I'm gonna put this more into the closer to the channel. There's it's 3-4 feet deep tops here. Low tide maybe a foot, but this channel out here 6-7 foot. But if there's fish coming through, especially as the tide goes out, they're right up here. The one challenge, obviously, this time of year is turtles. So we'll see how that goes. Boop. All right. You always want to put the jug out first, then the bait, then you drop the sinker. What happens sometimes if you go the opposite direction, you're not paying attention, the hook gets caught in your leg. So you want the hook already out of the boat when you drop the sinker. Using different size circle hooks today. Right now I'm just going 1 per hook. All right, orange, we're gonna go Catfish Pro, and we're gonna have a mixture of top and bottom baits. All right, orange, going back to Catfish Bloody Skipjack. Whoa. All right. Well, not bad. This was on the red buoy, red jug, so that means that's a fat little catfish right there. So magic bait 1. Magic bait 1, Catfish Pro 0. That's a good eating one right there. Let's make sure we get rid of you. Whoop. All right. All right, that's another catfish for magic bait. That's 2-0, 2-0. Gotta watch out for those spines. Circle hook got him right where it's supposed to be. I like it. Pretty little fish. All right, guys and gals, that's Catfish Pro 1 and magic bait 2, and the game called due to rain, so who knows what might have happened. All right, it was a close one, guys and gals, but Magic Cat pulled it out 2-1 over Catfish Pro. Again, maybe if I'd stayed a little bit longer, the odds would have been a little bit better. Again, fishing was kind of slow today. 3 fish total on 12 baits versus 8 fish last week on the same bait, same time frame. Difference is water's a lot higher, high tide. But again, what I liked about Catfish Pro is it didn't smell as much, had a resealable bag, and the bait stayed on the hook a lot better and it didn't dry out as much. Magic bait just stunk bad, which is what you want for catfish. Didn't have a resealable bag and it started to dry out if I left it outside. I put it back in the cooler, and it didn't stay on the hook as well. When I put it in, it kind of chunked up a little bit. More of that bait was gone when I pulled up the jugs. I don't know if that was because something was eating it or if it just fell off the hook, but the Catfish Pro definitely stayed on the hook better, and really with a 2-1 difference, who's to say which one was better than the other. I like the Catfish Pro, just of all the other things I talked about, but I'm wondering if the Magic bait catches more. But again, 2-1, I'll have to come back another day. Last week, Brim beat out Ivory Soap 8-0, and I'm looking at next week probably doing Brim versus chicken livers. It's 2 high seeds. I mean, chicken livers could beat out Brim, I'm not sure. But we also have shrimp, we have eel, we have a few other baits, earthworms coming up. But next week's going to be a monster one. Brim versus chicken livers. Basically 1 versus 2 seed. I really appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. More to come. Peace outside.